Apologies for 801. John, hear you there. Thanks for dropping by. Actually, since we are still live, let me do that. We're your lead in tonight for Atlanta Soccer tonight because of the tournament, and it is the basketball tournament that is going to be happening. The Field of 68. They have their play-in round in Dayton tomorrow. So on 92.9, the game on the Odyssey app, Atlanta Soccer tonight has been shifted to tonight. So it literally is Atlanta Soccer tonight. And that's at 10 o'clock. So we're going to go until a little before 10. Hour number 2 is going to be Good Evening, D. Graham. Hour number 2 is going to be Picks of the Week. I already have our first game. And no, I do not know the tiebreaker. For the life of me, I have been trying to find anybody that has the number of fouls in the Uzbekistan Super Cup final. 1 goal, 2 yellows, and from everything that I've read, it probably was better to watch paint dry at somebody's house. So I have no earthly idea. I might have been closest to the pin in that one, but I don't know. If anyone can find said number of fouls for the tiebreaker, then that would be fantastic. That would help out a great deal. I'm sure it would help out you more than it would help out me, considering the miserable week that I had specifically in Picks of the Week. So it is safe to say that I did not win Picks of the Week. We'll go over who might have won Picks of the Week, at least on our side of things. And then you guys can let us know on the Discord side who won there, and we can get that squared away in hour number 2. But like I said, I know what the first match is going to be in Picks of the Week for this week. It's not today. It is obviously tomorrow. So that'll be number 1 out of 8. We'll work our way forward from there. And I like what Soccer for Good OG has proposed in the idea that something in there every week has to be from Uzbekistan. Going forward, everything, every element, every Picks of the Week segment going forward will have, up until the cup that the world is chasing after, it's going to have something in the Uzbeki League or Uzbeki National or a friendly or something in there somewhere. So that'll happen every week. Probably going to look at the friendlies that they might have in the window coming up in a couple of weeks, things like that for national team, but we'll get that squared away then. So I know what match number 1 is. We got to figure out the other 7. I had a miserable week in Picks of the Week. I hope you didn't. But we'll find out who won on our side and who won on the Discord side, and we'll get that squared away, and that'll be in hour number 2. So you notice by the title, for those of you following along on the media that is social, I wanted to kind of just start things off as kind of like an opening kickoffy kind of thing. I wanted to focus on the Polish league, and you can get that at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. And with that, what you can do is you can get all of AFCON. You can find out what's going on the African continent. You have all of their qualifying tournaments that are there. You've got Copa Sudamericana, Copa Libertadores. You have all of those. On beIN specifically, you have the Polish League, the French League, the Turkish League, and you've also got access to CATV and Tigo Sports and all of those things. You also get TEIC out of Argentina, so you can watch the LPF. A lot of different leagues in South America that we reference decent amount of the time when it comes to Picks of the Week. It's Argentina, Paraguay, Bolivia, Uruguay, Colombia. They're all there, and it's not just the first division. It's first division and second division. Liga 1 Max Pro out of Peru with our buddy Nino Torres. And so all of that you can get at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. You can get CDO. You can get TVV if you want to add Venezuelan programming. But I will suggest that if, just as a public service announcement, I don't need to add it because I have it on my Spanish-speaking package on my cable over here on the Big 55. So there are a lot of networks that you can add, a lot of matches you can add, a lot of games you can add, and all the BNs. And I mean all the BNs. You can get that at fanatesfntz.co/soccer down here. So when we look at what's going on in Poland, in the Ekstraklasa, we knew it was crazy at one point where top to bottom, it was just absolutely stacked, and it was like maybe 12 points top to bottom. It's kind of the same right now. It's not as bad. You have 9 matches to go. You do have a relegation fight that involves basically 8 teams, and practically every team is still within the margins of not getting relegated, staying afloat, and technically winning the league. The margin is a little bigger from top to bottom now, but just to give you an idea here, and this will be opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Rich beans from our friends in Brazil and Guatemala, rich taste. And you see Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. You see our friends from Black Pitch Coffee in and around the city of Atlanta. You see them with us when we have our events and so on. So if you're looking for a really cool new addition to the coffee planet, and you're looking for rich taste, bit of a chocolate blend, and then go with our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. But just to give you an idea, they are through match week 25, except for one club, and that is Jagiellonia Białystok. Actually, 2 clubs, Jagiellonia Białystok and GKS Katowice. They're the only 2 that have 10 matches to go. Everybody else has 9. And we'll get into their juice boxes in a second. Now, we may even have the Polish league on just because of its chaos, especially at the bottom of the table. So Zagłębie and Lech Poznan right now, they're 1 and 2, identical records, identical points, separated by 5 goals in goal difference. Literally, that's the difference between 1 and 2. 3 and 4, same thing. But Jagiellonia, remember, they have a match in hand. They've lost 2 in a row. They only have 3 points in their last 5 matches. But they are right now at 38 points plus 9 in goal difference. And they have that matchup coming up with GKS Katowice, who's won 3 in a row, heading into their 25th match. Górnik Zabrze, 38 points. They've hit each column once in their last 3 to get to 38. They're 5 goals behind on goal difference. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. That is Champions League. That is Europa League. Raków Czestochowa is at 37. We mentioned GKS Katowice is at 36. They have 2 more wins than Wisła Płock, they were at the top of the division. Remember, for the longest time when we started looking at the Ekstraklasa, you had Wisła Płock on top of the ladder. Newly promoted, top of the ladder, they've hit the skids. I mean, literally, it is brake fluid and transmission fluid has gone all over the ground. They lost 4 in a row at one point. They finally snapped that 4-game losing streak. And they are in 7th behind Katowice because they have 2 less wins. And they also have 8 less goals scored. And Katowice has the match in hand. So Wisła Płock was at the top. They are no longer, but they're 5 points out of winning the league still after losing 4 in a row with 9 matches to go. Then there's a bit of a gap. Pogoń Szczecin has won 4 of 5. They're at 34 points ahead of Motor Lublin by 1 goal in goal difference. They also have 2 more wins after match week 25. Radomiak Radom is at 33 points. They're ahead of Cracovia by 2 goals. Korona Kielce by 3 goals. All of them have 33 points. Cracovia has lost 3 in a row. Korona Kielce has lost 3 of 4. 32 points gets you to 13th with Piast Gliwice. They had lost 3 of 4, but they snapped that last time out with a win, so they're up to 32 points with the win. Lechia Gdansk is at 31 points, and that is with a 5-point deduction from the Federation. They've hit each column once in their last 3. 10 wins, 31 points with a 5-point deduction. Arka Gdynia is at 30 points. They have a massive goal difference. at 16. And then that gets you into the relegation zone. Legia Warsaw and Widzew Łódź, two of the heavyweights in the league, 29 points and 28 points. Legia has not lost in 5, but they have not won all 5. Widzew Łódź has 38 points, has 28 points, and they're -3 in goal difference, and they've hit each column once in their last 3. Then you have Termalichka, and they've lost 3 of 4. They're at 22. Termalichka is kind of off on an island right now. They're in the last relegation spot. 16th, 17th, and 18th, they get relegated. They go down to the B division, and then you go from there. But to break it all down, literally 6 points separates 8th from 17th. That's 10 teams going mid-table to relegation. Legia Warsaw, you have 7 points separating 6 through 16. So 11 teams separated by 7 points with 9 matches to go. That's literally what you're staring at. Everybody from Pogoń Szczecin all the way down to Widzew Łódź. Look, if you have a hot week, you can get out of the relegation zone. If you have a crappy week, you could be in it. That's how tight things are right now in the Ekstraklasa. Crazy, stupid, nuts Polish league so far this year. Wisła Płock, remember, they had just been promoted from the second division, came up, charging out of the blocks. And then magically, all of a sudden, you figured they would return to the mean, and they did. Evening, David. Morning. Wow, shows you where my brain is. Shows you literally what they had done to get promoted in the first place, and then to stay there as long as they did, and then they've lost 4 in a row, and then they finally snapped that streak. Today was where Pogoń Szczecin and Korona Kielce had played their 25th match. Tomorrow at 2. And no, it is not the first match in Picks of the Week. Jagiellony Białystok is at home at a -137. GKS Katowice is a +280, and the draw is a +280, and Katowice is a +333 in that one. 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. You can catch that on Fanatis, on BN, and the BN Español simulcasting, fntz.co/soccer down here. So I'm going to take a peek really quickly. So. Let's see. So today is the 16th. So we go to the 22nd. Do we have anything in the 22nd range? You've got a couple that are kind of teasy. So yeah, we will go to the Ekstraklasa for something in Picks of the Week. We will do that for Picks of the Week. Just trying to figure out which one will be the one and where we are in the schedule. So they have Sunday, and they are times that are concurrent. They don't run on top of each other. So props to you, Polish League, for having that schedule. So they have match tomorrow to get everybody through match week 25. Then you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we will be picking something from Poland today as a part of Picks of the Week, just because of the continual chaos that's going on in that particular league. Also on the board today in the Premier League, in the Prem, it was a 2-2 draw, so yet another point, another plucky point for Wolves. So Wolves continues to just kind of hang around a little bit. They're kind of hanging. They're just there. They got the 1 point this afternoon. Remember, it was a 4 o'clock kick because of we have sprung forward. The rest of the planet has not yet. Brentford in 2-2 with Wolves. And so that was the final. We'll go over the standings coming up in just a little bit. We do have some news. You might have missed it this morning, plus some other things that have happened in league. Chelsea gets hit with a record fine after the £47 million secret transfer payments. Clubs also given a suspended transfer ban over dealings during the Abramovich era. Literally during the Roman Abramovich era. Seriously. His time, which has not been for a while. Now the Premier League is sitting there going, "Oh, yeah, we'll come up with this." And obviously, when you're looking at places like the Telegraph and you have more than one writer, Matt Law and Ben Rumsby, never a good sign. Never a good sign. So from this afternoon, from the two of them, fined a record £10.75 million and hit with a suspended transfer ban by the Premier League after making £47.5 million in secret payments during the Roman Abramovich era. Sorry, hydration. Club's also been banned from signing academy players for 9 months, but escaped a points deduction or other immediate first-team sporting sanctions after a 4-year investigation by the Premier League. 4 years. Chelsea's found to have paid £23 million to 7 unregistered agents for the signings of 7 players, including Eden Hazard, David Luiz, and Ramirez. Made a £19.3 million payment to 2 entities in connection with the transfers of Willian and Samuel Eto'o. Self-reported the financial irregularities following the purchase of the club from Abramovich in 22 by Bowley Clearlake. Included a £100 million reduction in a sale fee due to Abramovich due to account for possible fines. Chelsea was investigated because during the due diligence process, Bowley Clearlake had picked them up and they were self-reported by the current owners to UEFA, the FA, and the Premier League. Telegraph revealed back in June of 22 that the £100 million that was set aside from the agreed £2.5 billion sale price was to cover any financial penalties that may occur as a result. Payments made to players, unregistered agents, and other third parties by offshore entities linked to Abramovich, which was reported by the club following the takeover in May of 22. Payments helped Chelsea secure the signatures of some of the best players of the era ahead of their Premier League and European rivals. Punishments form part of 2 sanctions agreements between the league and Chelsea over various offenses dating between 2011 and 2022. Club also facing further action from the FA, having been charged with 74 alleged breaches of its rules related to payments to agents between 2009 and 2022. Previously fined €10 million, £8.64 million, by UEFA in July of 23 for incomplete financial reporting by their previous owners in 2018 and 2019. The secret payments involve Hazard, Willian, Ramirez, David Luiz, Andre Schürrle, Nemanja Matic, and Eto'o, as well as other unnamed footballers. Most successful side of the early to mid-2010s, 2 Premier League titles, 2 FA Cups, League Cup, Champions League, and Europa League. Champions League and Europa League were back-to-back in 2011-12 and 2012-13. FA Cup was in the 9-10 and the 11-12 season, as well as 17-18. You had Premier League titles in 09-10 and 14-15 and 16-17. Then you went on to win the Champions League in 2021, Club World Cup in 2021, and the UEFA Super Cup in 2022. There is no suggestion, according to Law and Rumsby, that the players named were aware of any misconduct. In total, the investigation found a third-party entity related to Chelsea had made payments of £23 million to 7 unregistered agents, as well as 2 other players whose names were redacted. $19.3 million to 2 entities in connection with the transfers of Willian and Eto'o, a £3.8 million payment to 1 entity in connection with the transfer of an unnamed player, of redacted, and £1.37 million given to Frank Arneson, the former Chelsea sporting director, and scout Piet de Visser, plus another unnamed individual. And so now, Law and Rumsby try to move the story forward, and they're wondering if the lack of a sporting sanction raises questions over whether it's going to be a sufficient deterrent for that kind of conduct. You figure a similar outcome maybe in the ongoing case involving the close to 130 charges against Manchester City. This is the supposition of Law and Rumsby. No expected time frame on any verdict regarding the charges more than 3 years after they were announced and 15 months since the near 3-month hearing concluded. Premier League statement had a couple of paragraphs to it. Investigation concluded that the payments would not have meant Chelsea breaching any PSR, and following mitigation for their self-reporting, a £10 million fine and 1-year first-team transfer ban suspended for 2 years were agreed to. The £750,000 balance of the Chelsea fine and the ban on academy signings is for offenses related to the club breaking rules on early contact with youngsters between 2019 and 2022. Ownership self-reported the academy matter last year. Ban covers previously registered players previously registered with another Premier League or EFL club in the last 18 months does not apply to existing academy players signing contracts or players registering for the first time at U9. That's correct, the under 9 level, and the club can still sign international players. Club came out with a statement. In 2012, former Manchester United manager Sir Alex Ferguson claimed Chelsea beat him to signing Eden Hazard by making a £6 million payment to the player agent. Leadership team of the Abramovich era left after Bowley Clearlake took over. Neil Bath and Jim Frazier, who built the academy, also left Chelsea in July of 24. Chelsea previously punished for breaching the rules during the Abramovich era. Transfer ban on a £460,000 fine by FIFA in 2019 for 150 rule breaches involving 68 academy players over a number of seasons. So Chelsea gets fined. Congratulations to you. That really, I think that'll really make an impact, by the way. Also from the Telegraph and also from Matt Law and also about Chelsea, Danny Finkelstein, who also said Coach Luis Enrique would not have been a good signing, believed meeting with supporters groups was private, but apparently he was in a foul-mouthed exchange with fans. Chelsea supporters protesting against the club's owners have claimed they were told it's effing obvious we're building one of the best teams in the world by director Danny Finkelstein. Columnist for The Times, awarded an OBE in 97, also told the group of supporters there is no statistical relationship between managers and results, and that PSG's head coach Luis Enrique would not have been the right appointment for Chelsea. Summary of the meeting between Lord Finkelstein and Chelsea, which took place, and the fans took place at the start of February, posted online by the Not a Project CFC protest group following the first leg defeat by PSG 5-2 in the round of 16. Lord Finkelstein was not named by the group, but Telegraph has confirmed he was the director in question, and he believed the meeting was private. In the summary of the meeting, protest group said, quote, we calmly explained that we do not see a direction of travel taking us towards seriously competing in the Premier League and the Champions League while the current model is in place, and that the lack of proven experience and leadership in the squad will continue to harm us until this issue is addressed. Paragraph, the discussion became heated when the director responded by telling us players will mature as they get older, and that to them is effing obvious we're building one of the best teams in the world, end quote. So Lord Finkelstein is allegedly caught on tape saying that it's effing obvious that they're building the club one of the best clubs in the world. Also, news from Chelsea having to do with Reece James suffering a hamstring injury, expected to be out for a number of weeks. Pedro Neto avoided a Champions League ban from UEFA for shoving the ball boy in the loss to PSG. Philip Jorgensen is still out with a groin problem. James's injury rules him out for the England squad for the March friendlies against Uruguay and Japan at Wembley, and could give Thomas Tuchel something to think about. So keep an eye on Reece James. And that was, I think that's plenty, frankly. I think that's plenty. That's plenty about Chelsea in one place. So that was the rundown there of what happened in the Premier League with Chelsea anyway this past week. It's Chelsea over there, little COT. We actually do have Friday night football in the Premier League with Bournemouth hosting Manchester United at the Vitality. Right now, after the week that was, Arsenal 9 points clear, but once again, City has a match in hand. Manchester United is third. They have a match in hand. They've won 3 of 4. Villa is fourth at 51 points. They've lost 3 in a row. Liverpool is fifth at 49. Chelsea's at 48. They've lost 2 of 3. Brentford, after the draw today, is at 45 points, safely in seventh. Everton is in 8th, had a 2-game win streak snapped this past weekend. Newcastle's at 42. They've won 2 in a row. Bournemouth has drawn 4 in a row. They're unbeaten in 5. Oh, dead Mahout dipped. You're in trouble. So, dead Mahout dipped. I don't know what Mahout dipped is, but you have officially been blocked And now you're going to get reported as a bot and a viewer solicitation bot at that. EWER space SOLICITATION space BOT. 23 characters and gone. And the report has been submitted. So, Dead Mahout dipped. Stream boo. Good luck. So, Newcastle's at 42. They've won 2 in a row. Bournemouth has drawn 14 times this year. 4 of those in the last 4 matches, by the way. So they're ahead of Fulham by 1 goal and goal difference. That's why they're in 10th and Fulham's in 11th. Brighton is at 40 points, highly superior goal difference. They've won 3 of 4, and they are ahead of Sunderland at 40 points. Crystal Palace, happy to be here, FC, is at 39 points, unbeaten in their last 2 and in 3 of their last 4. And then you have the gap to the chase to the bottom. 7-point difference between Crystal Palace and Leeds. Leeds right now is in 15th at 32. Spurs, after Richarlison rescued a point and apparently made practically everyone's year last time out, Spurs, 30 points, snapped the 4-game losing streak for Igor Tudor. Forest has drawn 2 in a row. They're at 29 points. They are ahead of West Ham on goal difference. West Ham is in the relegation zone. Forest right now is not. Burnley's at 20 points. Wolves actually have points in their last 3 matches. They have 7 points in their last 3 matches to get to 17 points. But right now it is 4 teams, 3 points, 1 spot for relegation. Leeds at 32, Spurs at 30, Forest at 29, 4 goals ahead of West Ham, who is currently in the relegation zone on goal difference at 18. Going into the weekend, basically, we always talk about the relegation 6-pointers. You got one. Bournemouth and Manchester United, Friday Night Football is not it. Liverpool has to go to the Amex to take on Brighton. Fulham at Craven Cottage hosting Burnley. Everton at home hosting Chelsea. Leeds is hosting Brentford on your Saturday. On your Sunday, 1 match at 8 o'clock, Newcastle and Sunderland. Then you've got the 2 at 10:15, Villa West Ham and Spurs and Forest. Right now, Spurs and Forest. Spurs is a plus 150 at the stadium, the relatively new stadium that doesn't have a corporate sponsor. Draws a plus 240, and Forest is a plus 175. Keep that game in mind. Probably going to be putting it right here. So, so we'll go ahead and put that one in as part of Picks of the Week because it's one of those relegation 6-pointers. Richarlison saved Igor Tudor with a late last-minute draw. That's where things are with them. Australia granted 5 Iran women's players refuge. But then the story continued to evolve when it came to the tournament that was in Australia. And you go from there to the continuing saga. And now apparently all but 2 of the players that initially asked for asylum are heading back home. And so you have all of that info right now that is floating around. Once again, courtesy of Tom Morgan. 5 Iranian women's team players granted refuge in Australia. And then Australia as a country, according to Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, said that the country had come to their aid after the team's Asian Cup exit. Those 5 players were in a safe haven. Comment came despite the office of Reza Pahlavi, son of the last Shah, an opponent of the regime, already confirming the first 5 players had left the team's training camp, now in safe haven. Fatime Pazandide, Zara Ganbari, Zara Sarbali, Atife Ramazanzadeh, and Mona Hamoudi were named as the players that left. FIFPro, the Global Players Union, had said earlier Monday that there were serious concerns about the welfare of the team if they returned home. FIFA and the Australian government officials were still discussing the possibility of postponing the entire squad's return home. FIFA spokesman told the Telegraph, safety and security of IR Iran's women's national team are FIFA's priority. We therefore remain in close contact with the AFC, relevant Australian authorities, including Football Australia, in relation to the team's situation. And so you go from there. I'm trying to find, because now it was reported, and we did this during the morning show, that it is now only the two of the players, according to the AP, and this was the AP this morning, set to leave Malaysia local time Monday night. So that was the last we heard about their exit. Asian Football Confederation General Secretary Windsor John told the AP team's departure was arranged by the Iranian embassy. Said the AFC, which is supporting the Iranian team in Kuala Lumpur, was told they're flying to Oman, not their final destination. Said he wasn't aware of their full travel plans. Squad flew from Sydney to Kuala Lumpur 6 days ago after being knocked out of the Women's Asian Cup in Australia, leaving behind 6 players and a support staff member who had accepted protection visas. 4 players and the staffer have since rejoined the team in Malaysia. No reasons given for the changes of heart. Iranian diaspora in Australia blames pressure from Tehran. 2 players remain. Iranian authorities in Australia. Iranian authorities have welcomed the women's decisions to reject asylum. Iran's squad arrived in Australia for the tournament shortly before February 28th. Assistant Immigration Minister Matt Thistlethwaite described the women's plight in Australia as a very complex situation. They were moved to an undisclosed safe location, receiving assistance from the government and the Iranian diaspora and the Iranian community. So that is where we are right now with that particular story. So the 7 is down to 2, and we anticipate that flight landed in Oman carrying most of the Iranian women's national team. We do have news in women's soccer that we'll get to coming up in just a little bit. Neymar has been left out of the Brazil squad for March. Endrick makes the cut. Carlo Ancelotti's side has matches against France and Croatia March 26th in Boston and March 31st in Orlando, respectively. Last encounters before he names his final World Cup roster on May the 18th. Squad revealed on Monday. Neymar told media at an event at Sao Paulo he was upset and sad for not being picked. Quoting, though, my focus remains day after day, training after training, match after match. We'll reach our goal. There's still the final squad. All-time leading scorer, 79 goals. Hasn't played for the national team since October 23 when he tore the ACL and meniscus in his left knee. Wants to compete for Brazil at the World Cup after playing 90 minutes in a draw against Corinthians, which had 2 of Ancelotti's assistants in attendance. So you have Neymar not at 100%, according to Ancelotti in his press conference. Therefore, he's not on the list. If he can be at 100%, quoting Ancelotti, physically he can be there. Neymar could be at the World Cup. Neymar has to keep working, playing, showcasing his qualities, and maintaining good physical condition, end quote. Endrick was named for the first time since he took over in June. Igor Thiago earned his first call-up, part of the 26-man squad. Rafinha, Vinny Jr., João Pedro, Mateus Cunha, Lucas Paquetá has been left out, but Casemiro is in. Ancelotti also talked about extending his stay as manager of Brazil through the 2030 World Cup, saying the Brazil Federation is set to give him a new contract to stay on after the summer. When a couple, quoting Ancelotti, when a couple wants to carry on, I think there's no problem. Either before or after the next World Cup will make this extension official. And they begin June 13 against Morocco, and they also are going to go up against Scotland and Haiti in Group C. So if you're keeping an eye on Brazil, then that's what you do. And keep an eye on Brazil. You do it that way. Full Brazil squad for this go-round, by the way. It is keepers Alisson Bento from Al Nasser and Ederson, who is currently at Fenerbahce. Defenders, Alex Sandro from Flamengo, Bremer from Juve, Danilo from Flamengo, Douglas Santos from Zenit, Gabriel Magalhaes, Ibanez, who's at Al Ahly, Leo Pereira from Flamengo, Marquinhos at PSG, and Wesley from Roma. Midfielders, Andre Santos from Chelsea, Casemiro, Danilo from Botafogo, Fabinho from Al Ittihad, and Gabriel Sadat from Galatasaray. Forwards, Endrick from Lyon, Gabriel Martinelli, Igor Thiago, Luis Enrique, Mateus Cunha, Rafinha, Ryan from Bournemouth, Vinny Jr., and Joao Pedro. So that is the rundown of the Brazil squad that is in this particular window. So that's your if you're keeping an eye on that, then that's what's going on. Also, according to Jeff Carlisle, and this is kind of over there leaning into over here, Noah Kai Banks has opted out of the March camp. The Augsburg defender, according to Jeff Carlisle, is not going to join up with the men's national team, remains undecided as to whether he will represent Germany or the U.S. at the international level. Kicker was the first to report that Banks would not participate in the MNT camp. U.S. is set to play Belgium on March 28th, followed by a second match against Portugal 3 days later. We know where those matches are going to be. They're going to be at Atlanta Stadium. Still might be Mercedes-Benz Stadium at that point. But anyway, those two matches, we know those two matches. One source said, with knowledge of Banks' thinking, quote, Noah Kai hasn't made a decision yet and wants to make the right decision for himself and his career. He is still undecided. That to me sounds like either parent or agent. Breakout campaign for Augsburg, 21 appearances, scoring 1 goal, all at the age of 19. Son of an American father and a German mother, born in Hawaii. But according to his mother, Nadine, the family returned to Germany when Noah Kai was 7 weeks old. Banks' parents eventually divorced, though Noah Kai maintained contact with his father, Cedric. Noah Kai has lived in Germany ever since, joined Augsburg as an 8-year-old. Part of the 23 U17 World Cup. September, took part in the training camp with the MNT. Didn't appear against South Korea or Japan. You get the one-time switch. Noah Kai Banks, sir, you can opt out if you wish. Let's see. I'm trying to see what else is up and around internationally. I think we're safe on the international, with the exception of one story. And it's a pretty big blanking story. Women's soccer. Katerina Macario looks like she is signing an NWSL deal with San Diego, league record deal, according to Jeff Kassouf. Kassouf is writing this in the past tense, as it has, in his mind, already happened. Let's see if there's anything cryptic on the 280-character app in the NWSL. Smiling faces, set to join. The transfer deadline is today, by the way. So right now it is reported to be coming. Ibanovi Williams et al. At Sportico, along with Justin Birnbaum. San Diego and Chelsea agreed to terms. 5-year deal worth nearly $8 million, largest contract in total dollars in NWSL history. Contract runs through the 2030 season. Also includes a bonus at signing and incentives that could push the total value higher. Macario is expected to join the club imminently. That's all three of the authors' words: Birnbaum, Novi Williams, and Scott Soshnick. Trinity Rodman had the highest record, had the record deal for a contract after signing a 3-year deal with Washington. Pays her more than $2 million annually with bonuses. Came after the protracted saga and the hip rule. Clubs can spend up to $1 million over the $3.7 million salary cap. Macario's deal would be a hip player rule designation. So Kat Macario would be hip, as would Trinity Rodman. Waves shelled out about $300,000, according to Sportico, for a transfer fee to bring Macario over this month before her contract expires this summer. Jeff Kassouf had reported first that she was in advanced talks back in February. Born in Brazil, moved to the U.S. at the age of 12, settling in Southern California. San Diego Surf Youth Club, Scully to Stanford, 63 goals, 69 matches, 2 Division 1 NCAA national championships, pair of Mac Hermann trophies, foregoing her senior season to turn professional. Was probably going to be a slam dunk 5 years ago for the NWSL draft number 1 pick. Opted to start her career with Lyon. And so now that the league has abolished the draft, adding player consent to trades and establishing free agency, Macario has confined to Europe with her career. Lyon for 3 years, Chelsea in the WSL. Macario, 105 appearances in 6 years, 44 goals. Popularity continues to rise, joining Nike last summer on a 10-year, $10 million deal, replacing Adidas as her apparel and shoe sponsor. Those deals, according to Sportico, usually pay in the neighborhood of $60,000 to $70,000. Top stars earning as much as $800,000. So then Kat Macario would then be above top star designation because she's hip. Wave could use her help. Attendance dropped 1/4 the year after Alex Morgan retired. Lauren Leichman, the Wave's billionaire owner, $800,000 transfer fee to bring in Ludmila from the Chicago. Addition of Macario now raises the bar even higher. So now you're getting into a bit of an arms race with San Diego and with Angel City in bringing players in. So we'll see what happens with that. But Kat Macario, she looks like she is, like I said, nothing official has been posted by San Diego Wave FC. Nothing official. Just the spring break camps in San Diego, by the way, March 30 through April 2 and April 6 through 9. Boys and girls ages 5 to 16, none of them named Katerina Macario. So if you're interested in the spring break camps in San Diego, you can go and sign up on their website. And you also, at the Murph Dragon on Wednesday, next Wednesday, ticket and a pizza slice. Dinner's on them if you buy the pack. Basically, you buy the ticket, the pizza's for free for San Diego and Portland. Probably the great unveiling of Katerina Macario at that match. So if you're interested in having dinner and getting a slice of pizza for free at the Murph Dragon, then that would be the time to do it probably. So keep an eye on them. So Kat Macario looks like she's heading this way with the player acquisition and the transfer deadline at some point today. But keep an eye, a week from Wednesday, 7 o'clock local time, 10 o'clock our time, possibly getting to see Kat Macario in either a hand-waving incident or possibly wearing a jersey for San Diego as they welcome Portland and Sophia Wilson to town. So keep an eye on that. And like I said, nothing so far from the league or from San Diego Wave FC themselves about Kat Macario making her way over. So that's your rundown with Kat Macario and her probable anticipated transfer in a league record deal in the sense of true dollars, where Trinity Rodman's deal is $6 million plus incentives. Kat Macario's right now looks like it's $8 million, and probably incentives involving her hip and her hipness. So you have that. That's what you're staring at with that. So we're kind of bouncing around a little bit because there's stuff going on, stuff we got to pay attention to, things to think about, all that. Tomorrow, by the way, it is Champions League. It is the second legs. Second legs in Champions League tomorrow and on Wednesday. The 4 legs that are tomorrow. And obviously tomorrow on the morning show, we'll update your juice boxes, etc. 1:45 and 4 o'clock. Sporting and Bodo Glimt. Bodo Glimt put 3 on the board at home north of the Arctic Circle. I feel like you have to say that every single time you're talking about Bodo Glimt, north of the Arctic Circle. Bodo Glimt won 3-0 in the first leg. They're going to Sporting in the second leg. Sporting to win the leg is a -200. Bodo Glimt to win the leg is a plus 425. Draws a plus 440. Then Arsenal and Bayer Leverkusen. This one's going to be kind of pesky at the Emirates. Arsenal and Bayer Leverkusen 1-1 going into the second leg. Arsenal to win the leg and therefore win the series would be a minus 345 right now. 90-minute draws a plus 500. Bayer Leverkusen to win at the Emirates is a plus 950. Chelsea and PSG. PSG won the first leg 5-2. They now go to Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea is a plus 110. Draws a plus 330. PSG is a plus 200. And this is once again just to win the leg. Manchester City and Real Madrid down 3-0 after the first leg. Manchester City's got a lot of work to do, but to win the leg itself tomorrow at the Etihad, they are a minus 217. Real Madrid is a plus 490, draws a plus 459. The Wednesday matches, once again, one at 145, the other at 4. Barcelona, Newcastle. Barcelona up 5, goes home. I would anticipate a rotated lineup for their new president, Joan Laporta. Barcelona minus 175, Newcastle a plus 375. And for Newcastle to win, they're a plus 420. 3 matches at 4 o'clock. Bayern Munich and Atalanta. Bayern Munich, after they won 6-1 in their first leg, they're a minus 303 to win the second leg at home. Plus 500 to 90-minute draw and a plus 700 for Atalanta to win in 90 minutes. Liverpool and Galatasaray. Galatasaray, a 1-0 advantage going to Anfield on Wednesday. Liverpool a minus 345. Your draws a plus 550, and Galatasaray to win on the road. Remember, the juice boxes are just for the game itself. Galatasaray is a plus 900. Spurs and Atletico de Madrid. 5-2, Atletico de Madrid in leg 1. Juice boxers apparently don't care. Juice boxers apparently do not care about this one because they have the same number across the board. Plus 154 to win either side. And then the draw is a plus 300. So 4 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. Spurs and Atleti, keep an eye on that one. So that's your Champions League. And then obviously you've got the other tournaments going on. Europa is 1 on Wednesday and 7 on Thursday. Braga and Ferencváros. Braga favored at home. Lost the first leg 2-0, but they are at home in the second leg at a minus 192. Your draws a plus 350. Ferencváros to win on the road is a plus 550. Then 3 matches, and it's 11:30 start on Wednesday morning, which is crazy. You get Europa League football at 11:30 Wednesday morning. We go off the air, you get Europa League football. Other second legs, 1:45 on Thursday. Freiburg and Genk. Freiburg down 1-0 after the first leg. Second leg, they're favored at home at a minus 167. Genk is a plus 450, draws a plus 320. Lyon and Celta de Vigo drawn at 1 after the first leg. Lyon a plus 104, Celta de Vigo a plus 280, draws a plus 240. Midtjylland hosting Nottingham Forest. They won 1-0 at the death last time out at City Ground. Midtjylland favored at home at a plus 250. Draws a plus 260, and Nottingham Forest a plus 104. The other 4 at 4 o'clock on Thursday. Roma and Bologna. Roma, that one was drawn after the first leg at 1s. Roma minus 130 to win the leg. Minus 260 is your draw, and Bologna is a plus 400. Aston Villa and Lille. Villa favored at home after winning the first leg 1-0 on the road. Minus 147, draws a plus 300. Lille's a plus 400. Real Betis down a goal. Hosting Panathinaikos at a minus 227, draws a plus 375. Panathinaikos a plus 750. And Porto hosting Stuttgart up 2-1. Porto a plus 150, draws a plus 260. And Stuttgart is a plus 175. So that's your Europa League second legs. Everybody in Conference League is on Thursday. AEK Athens, big favorite at home against Celje. They had 4 on the road, and Celje, just to give you an idea, to win the leg is a plus 1,100. Larnaca and Crystal Palace, goalless draw after 1. Crystal Palace is actually favored on the road at Larnaca, 145 on Thursday. Mainz and Sigma Olomouc, goalless draw after the first leg. Mainz is now at home at a minus 278. Sigma Olomouc a plus 850. Rakov Shestakova, plus 154, down 2-1 after the first leg. Plus 154 for Rakov Shestakova to win the match. Draws a plus 250, and Fiorentina's a plus 163. They're playing this one at ArcelorMittal Park. 4 o'clockers, Rayo Vallecano, up 3-1 after the first leg, is hosting Samsunspor at a minus 164. Samsunspor is a plus 475, draws a plus 280. Shakhtar Donetsk, the only game that I won in picks of the week last week. Shakhtar minus 102. Lech Poznan a plus 260. Draws a plus 270. And this is at the Cineres Arena. Stadion Miejski and the Henryka Reimana. So Shakhtar Donetsk favored up 2 goals at home in the second leg. Sparta Prague is a goal down at 2-1 to AZ Alkmaar. Sparta Prague a plus 120. AZ Alkmaar plus 220, draws a plus 240. Strasbourg is a big favorite at home. They're up 2-1 after the first leg, hosting Rijeka to minus 278. Draws a plus 375, and Rijeka is a plus 750. I just think at this point, juice boxers, I think they just kind of coasted in sometimes. Because if you see the numbers in the composite and they're magically like twice or they're the same, then you got to sit there and you're going, really? Really? That's the one? That's the one? And so, yeah, they're some of those numbers, you're just kind of sitting there going, really? You need Seth and Amy to kind of break it through for you. Really? Yes, really. So, yeah, there are some of these that are questionable juice boxes, but for the most part, home teams are going to be big favorites, including Happy to Be Here FC. So we'll see what happens there. But that's your Europa League, your Conference League, your Champions League. That is this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Excuse me. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's what you're staring at when it comes to all of your action when it comes to the European competitions, as folks are trying to get their juice boxes squared away. By the way, Wolves were actually down 2-0 to Brentford. Brentford surrendered 2. And so well-earned draw. I can't believe I'm saying this. Well-earned draw by Wolves. Good on them. And so you end up staring at that matchup and how that one finished. Wolves is making it difficult for some folks. I don't think they're going to save themselves in the greatest of great escapes, but they're making it difficult. They seem to have found their way a little bit here in the second half of the season. And by the way, we mentioned how chaotic it can be sometimes with the chase for the championships. When Jarrett was on here last time, we talked about Scotland. Standings right now, just to give you an idea. It is 3 teams, then it's somebody by their lonesome, and then it is 2 other clubs. And remember, this is the dreaded split. So at 6, those teams play each other chasing after a title, and then 7 through 12 try not to get dropped. But it's looking like it's going to be Livingston that's going to get dropped. Right now, just to give you an idea of the split. Hearts This is after match week 30. I think there are 3 matches to go before they go into the split. Hearts has 2 points on Celtic. Celtic has a 3-match unbeaten streak. Hearts lost the last time out, and it was to Kilmarnock of all people. Kilmarnock is next to last in the table. So they put up a 1-0 clunker on the road in a match that they should have won probably. And so Hearts right now 2 points ahead of Celtic, 3 points ahead of Rangers. Here comes Celtic and Rangers. Survive this first part, then get into the second part. Motherwell's lost 2 in a row. They're in fourth, pretty much in fourth. Once again, 3 matches to go before you go into the split. You're okay. Literally, Motherwell, that they should stay fourth. Hibs, Cabbage, unbeaten in 4. They're at 47 points, 4 points ahead of Falkirk. And Falkirk has been unbeaten in their last 2. Notice I haven't said a particular team yet. Getting into the other half of the split, it is 9 points difference with 3 matches to go. So the magic number really for Falkirk is 1. They get a draw next time out. They're safe in the upper half. And then Dundee United would start the cascade of no. Dundee United is at 34. Dundee FC's at 32. Aberdeen, and we finally mentioned Aberdeen, and Lutz Pfannenstiel, man who stole a penguin. Lutz Pfannenstiel right now is at 8-6-16 as sporting director at Aberdeen. 30 points. 30 points. 13 points from the upper half of the split, which is something that you are not going to get to. 6 points ahead of St. Mirren and Kilmarnock. And Livingston has only won once in 30. They've drawn their last 4. They have 12 draws this season, but they've only won 1 time in 30 this season in the Scottish League. Scottish Premiership, they've only won 1 out of 30. That's not a good margin. Just so you know, Hearts has Dundee this week. They're a big favorite at home. Motherwell slightly favored against Hibs. Rangers should pick up 3 points against Aberdeen hosting at home. Celtic is at Dundee United. They're a big favorite. And that is on the last game. So that would be Sunday morning football for us. Dundee United and Celtic. Then you have the international break. They come back April 4th. So that's your rundown of the Scottish Premiership and how much problems there are right now. Hearts, Celtic, Rangers. Hearts, Celtic, and Rangers. Hearts, Celtic, and Rangers. That's what you're staring at with those two. So it is. You do have lower division stuff going on in England. Wrexham and Watford are afternoon football tomorrow. So Wrexham, just to once again to satisfy our own curiosities about how things are right now in English football in the second division. After I did not catch Rob Mack and Ryan Reynolds doing play-by-play for their match against Swansea. I did not see that. But right now, just so you know, and Watford is favored at home at Vicarage Road. Standings, Coventry and Middlesbrough. Coventry is 7 points clear. They did lose last time out to Southampton. Southampton needed that win desperately. They're unbeaten in their last 5. They've won 3 of their last 4. But right now, as things stand, Hull has lost 3 out of 4. They have played 38 matches. Coventry and Middlesbrough 1 and 2 after match week 38, 7 points separating. So Coventry right now still averaging 2 points plus per match. Had a 4-game win streak snapped. They've scored 78 goals in 38 matches. I'm sure John Nason is very happy. But right now, Coventry, with 8 matches to go, they are in the driver's seat. Middlesbrough's at 70. They're in the second spot for now. Ipswich at 68, well ahead of Millwall in goal difference, a plus 28 in goal difference for Ipswich. Millwall is 4th. 4-game win streak snapped. Hull has lost 3 of 4. They're at 63 points. Wrexham is in the 6. They are in the last promotion playoff spot right now with a match in hand that they're making up tomorrow to get to match week 38. Southampton's in 7th at 57, ahead of Derby County on goals. And then you have a bit of a group. You have the second chase group. Birmingham is at 53, Watford 52, Swansea behind on goal difference at 52, Watford a match in hand. 51 points, Norwich have won 4 in a row. Stoke at 51, 1 goal behind Norwich. Norwich has a match in hand. Bristol City's at 51. They are behind in, where am I here? Same record as Stoke, behind on goal difference. Sheffield United is in 15th. They're at 50 points, well ahead of QPR on goal difference. QPR had a 4-match losing streak snapped last time out. They needed that to get to 50 points. Preston North End, however, has lost 4 in a row. They're at 49. Charlton's at 48, unbeaten in 3. Blackburn at 42. Now, here's where the fun begins. So the relegation zone, well, once again, if you're trying to go from 18th to 10th, 9 teams separated by 4 points. That middle grouping in the championship is always going to be, right now, pretty tight. But there's a second group that is pulling away, Derby, Birmingham, Wrexham, Hull, to get into the 5 and the 6. Birmingham's at 53 points. So I would probably say Derby, Southampton, Wrexham, unless something happens. Once again, you've got 8 matches to go for the most part. Now, the relegation fight. Portsmouth has lost 4 of 5, and they've dropped into it. They're at 40 points, and they are ahead of West Brom and George Campbell on goal difference. George Campbell and West Brom are still out of the relegation zone. They've only lost once in their last 5 after the dismissal of Eric Ramsey. Oxford United has they won 3 in a row. Then they picked up a draw last time out. Unbeaten in 4. They're at 39 points. Leicester, with their points deduction, is now in the relegation zone. They are at 38. 6-point deduction, remember, by the Federation for violations of profit and sustainability rules. And Sheffield Wednesday is at minus 6 points. They've won once in 38. They've given up 76 goals. 2 goals a match given up. They've only scored 23. Lost 4 of 5. So 1 point in their last 5 matches. They've only won once this year. And so everyone is lining up to play Sheffield Wednesday down the stretch. Hull, however, gets them. And we mentioned where Hull is right now. Losers of 3 of 4. But right now, 3 points ahead of Wrexham. Wrexham with a match in hand in the championship. So keep an eye on the championship for its own batch of chaos going into the promotion playoff spots. That middle of the pack where nothing's going to happen to them, just positioning. And then the relegation fight. Relegation fight, once again, a couple of teams separated by a couple of points. Literally, it is 4 teams, 3 points, or 5 teams, 4 points. Blackburn, Portsmouth, West Brom out. Oxford United, Leicester in at the moment. 4 points separating 5 teams, 19 through 23. To either stay afloat in the championship or go down into League One and join Sheffield Wednesday. So that is the rundown with those as we go. All right, it's after 9 o'clock, which means one thing. It is time to play the best horn section that we know of here at the SDH Network. It's time. Picks of the week. I love that horn section. I really do. I love that horn section. Best horn section in the business. The SDH band, the SOT band, really. The SOT band is with us. We got 50 minutes to come up with 8 matches, get our history lessons in, and send you over once again. Reminder, 10 o'clock, Atlanta Soccer tonight, 92.9 The Game. Jason, joined by Maddie. They're going to talk Atlanta United. They're going to talk about the twos. They're going to get you through your late evening. So 10 o'clock, 92.9 The Game in the Odyssey app. After we are done, we're going to sign off a little early so they can come in to the studio space and get themselves all orchestrated and ready to go. So 50 minutes, 8 matches, plus a tiebreaker, and no, I don't know where the Uzbeki Super Cup finished. I have no idea. For the life of me, I've tried to find it. Like I said, I know the final score, but I don't know the number of fouls. And it has been annoying the crap out of me. By the way, Neftchi Fargona won 1-0 over Paktakor. Like I said, it was like 2 yellow cards, one for Ratinho in the 67th, one by Gofurov in the 82nd. Trying to find as many stats as humanly possible. 2 yellow cards. They don't tell you fouls, but they tell you yellow cards. 2 yellows, both of them were on Neftchi Fargona. So the winners ended up with a 1-0 win. They won the Super Cup. 19 shots on the day, 13 of them by Paktakor. The cotton ball. 13-6. Shots on target, 4-2. 13 corners, by the way, but only 2 yellows and no clue as to how many fouls there were. None. No freaking clue. Will Ooze Daily give it to us? Will they give us? They do give us the picture. It was held at Bobur Arena in Andijan. Quoting OozeDaily.com, Fergana Football Club Neftchi claimed the 26 Uzbekistan Super Cup, defeating Tashkent's Paktakor. From the first minutes, stadium buzzed with a festive football atmosphere. Thousands of fans filled the stands, actively supporting their teams, with Neftchi supporters particularly vocal throughout the game. And this is from our friends at Ooze Daily. The decisive moment came in the 17th minute when Ferreira Ratinho delivered a precise strike that found the back of the net, giving Neftchi the lead. In the second half, both teams continued a tense battle and created several scoring opportunities. However, Fergana's squad successfully maintained their narrow advantage until the final whistle. Neftchi's 1-0 victory secured the Super Cup, allowing the reigning Super League champion to start the new season with a prestigious trophy and delight its supporters with a memorable triumph. That's from Ooze Daily. We have no stats. We have no idea what the numbers were when it came to fouls. Like I said, we got cards. We got fouls. We got all the other things. We got cards. We have cards. We have finals. But we don't have the actual information that's attached to it. 1-0 win, Neftchi over Paktakor. And we know, so literally it's going to have to be staring at this and pointing it player by player. If the numbers are correct when it comes to substitutions and player value, and it is no game statistics for each of these players. And we don't know how many fouls Islombek Ismoilov and Kamolidin Tajiev's teams had in the match. Like I said, we just know that Gofurov and Ratinho had the only 2 yellows in the match. Literally, that's it. That's all we know. So I say that it's considering that there were only 2 yellow cards in the match. I mean, legitimately, what I would say, outside of the substitutions, is that there weren't a whole lot of fouls. That'd be my guess. Like I said, I have no clue, but that is my guess. The Uzbek Super Cup, you're not helping me. Yes, I'm accepting transfer marked. So Neftchi Pak Decor, the 19th different place that I'm sitting here and staring at things in front of an announced crowd of 16,821. Timur Tukashinov was the man in the middle. So, substitutions and goals. We know that Iskandarov assisted on the Ratinho goal. But legitimately, we have no stats on this in the number that matters to us. None, I say none. It just says goals, assists. Doesn't give me fouls, though. And that's the disappointing thing. We need fouls. You're not helping a man. You're not helping the man out with the subs and the cards. I mean, cool that you got them and cool that you're telling us who they are, but match sheet. We get the match sheet here. All right, so that's the match sheet. And you don't help. Lineups. And you're not really helping there either. You're giving me the value of these individuals. Groups and match days and things like that. So I don't know. I'm just going to say that it was a really low number, and we'll go with that. So whoever had the lowest number in the Discord, I anoint you the winner. I give you the winning. I give you the winning nod through the great assumption on my part. Each team with 4 substitutions, 2 yellows on the day, both of them for Neftchi, and those are the only stats we have. So low number of fouls, winner. There, I've just made it up. So there we go. Okay. All right. Here's where we are. Last week, I sucked. CONCACAF Champions Cup, Monterrey and Cruz Azul. We all picked Monterrey. Cruz Azul 1-3-2. USL Championship, Birmingham and Hartford was an incredibly enthralling, by all accounts, goalless draw for the Businessman Special at Protective in Birmingham. We all picked teams to win. It was a draw. No one won that one either. Argentina, actually, match number 3 was the Conference League in Europa. That was the only one that I won, was Shakhtar Donetsk over Lech Poznan. Nick won that one, and so Nick and I are tied going into match number 4. In Argentina, Huracan and River Plate. Nick won that one at a plus 155. Jarrett lost it. I lost it. So Nick has two matches won, and then I have one, and then Jarrett has not won one yet. China, probably the biggest shock on the board. Actually, I take it back. Sorry. A-League Women. Newcastle wins 3-1. We all picked either Sydney or the draw. China, the biggest shock on the board. Wuhan, 3 towns ended up winning by 3 as the underdog at a plus 170. So Nick picked Dalian Yingbo. They did not win. Jarrett picked Wuhan, 3 towns. They did. So they each have 2 matches won, and I have 1 going into the last 2. Swiss Super League. Young Boys won. We all picked Lausanne in the draw. And then it was Nick and Jarrett in the matchup with San Jose and Seattle. And so they both picked San Jose. I picked the draw. None of us won that one. So literally it's Jarrett with the Wuhan 3 towns underdog pick that got him the win, and the rest of us were just awful. Now, here we go. And this is probably the first time that we will have the track of one team going through the entire thread of the week. So, here's where we are. Pick number 1, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. We welcome back the U.S. Open Cup. It is opening round, 7 matchups tomorrow. We'll go through them in the SDHAM with the up-to-date numbers and matchups and stuff. Pittsburgh hosting Steel City, big favorite. Rhode Island hosting Fialenze, big favorite, minus 2,500. Obviously, we're not touching that one. Vermont Green, Portland Hearts of Pine. Detroit City FC at 7:30 hosting Michigan Rangers. Detroit City FC, a big favorite, minus 909. Colorado Springs at 10 o'clock. Sorry, at 8 o'clock, hosting Azteca at a minus 2,000. Also at 8 o'clock, Indy 11 hosting Des Moines Menace. No word on if Des Moines Menace have brought in any of their professional ringer types like they have in the past, the all-star teams. Indy 11 at a minus 263 at home. Phoenix Rising at the corner of 34th and Washington. They're the late game, 10 o'clock, hosting San Ramon from the League of Clubs. Phoenix Rising, big favorite at a minus 417. But match number 1, Vermont Green and the Portland Hearts of Pine. Vermont Green is a plus 185 coming out of USL League 2. Portland Hearts of Pine are a plus 100, even money, and your draw's a plus 260. I'm going to go draw. It's going to be a hot crowd at Vermont Green. I think it's going to take P-Hop a while, but I think they'll get it done. It'll just be longer than 90 minutes. So I'm going with the 90-minute draw with Vermont Green and the Portland Hearts of Pine. That is match number 1 on the day. Match number 2, we're going Champions League. And this, remember, is to win the match. This is Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Spurs and Atleti. Spurs and Atleti Champions League. So kind of a theme to start things out. Spurs are a plus 154. Atleti is a plus 154. Draws a plus 300. Remember, this is just to win the match itself. And I'm going Atleti. I buy nothing out of the maneuverability of Richarlison getting the last-minute draw for Spurs. I see nothing in that. So I think Atleti wins on the road. With the same number that Spurs have, which is crazy to me. So Champions League, I'm going with Atleti, and I'm going with the draw with Vermont Green. Now, this is where we go fishing. This is where we start trying to find things. So Wednesday is the 18th, and this is where we start kind of looking for stuff. And we try and find countries that, we might not have been in before. To try and figure out, okay, do we end up with matchups in places that we haven't been able to find because of the time of the week? And obviously, if you guys have suggestions, I'm not going to turn you down. So, morning D. Graham, morning David, morning evening. So, Typhane Bernard, welcome. And OG, good to see you. Uzbek stats are not very granular. No, they're not. So, Typhane Bernard, love the thoroughness of the show. Follow you every day. Nico's a blast. Hail from Rouen, France. Well, Typhane, do not be a stranger. We do this on Monday nights, and so for you, this is middle of the night. What are you doing up so late? Typhane Bernard, you're up incredibly late. We appreciate it for you. Don't get us wrong, but you're up in the middle of the night. And you're graveyard shifting us here. But no, we welcome you to the proceedings. Do not be a stranger, and we're glad that you follow us when you do, as you do. All right, so now we're looking for something Wednesday or Thursday to kind of move us all forward. And I'm trying to find something that isn't like a complete and total blowout idea of a match that we can lock into and let everybody know what's going on. So this is where the fun part starts, and we're trying to find leagues that we haven't done in a while or we haven't done, period. And we do have, activity in like the relegation group and the champions group and things like that in Denmark, the Danish Superliga, but they're not really helping us with the numbers. They're not helping us with the numbers here when it comes to. I'm trying to find things that are close, and I'm trying to find stuff that that would be intriguing to learn about, because that is also part of this process. We all get to learn together about what's going on in and around whichever whichever division and whichever league we're staring at. So, okay, here we go. But that's later on down the line. So hang on. So if today is 16, then 23 would be Monday. So then 21. Ow, what happened there? So the 21st would be Saturday. And we'll come back to that one. All right, we'll come back to that one. Okay, so, and that also kind of fits because the timetable works. Okay, so I've got matches 6 and 7. So at least, so we're building here. We're building. We're getting there. So 2 matches down. I have 2 others, and tell you what, where is that one? When is that date? Hang on. So, right, so that would be, well, I can't quite play that one because of the time frame. Okay, so we go here maybe. Let's see what we have here. Nothing there. I don't want that one. Okay. We're gonna kind of juggle the timeline a little bit, but it's the same premise. Okay. Match number 3 will be slightly earlier, but it's the same day, so it won't be too bad. So at 3:00 on Wednesday the 18th, Serie B, this one's for Nick. And it is Avellino and Südtirol. Avellino and Südtirol. Avellino, Chattanooga's got an Open Cup match on the 18th. I don't have juice boxes for that one, David. That's why I was trying to find a match that had juice boxes, and the only ones that I had juice boxes for were the ones on the 17th. We use our friends at Odds Portal. Okay, so Serie B, 3:00 Wednesday afternoon, Avellino and Südtirol. And here's where part of our education comes in. Avellino is a plus 179. Draws a plus 195. Südtirol is a plus 170. So basically, you're kind of in the margin for error. Standings right now, and you have like promotion playoffs and you have promotion by playoffs. Venezia and Monza right now are looking like they might get promoted to Serie A. They're in the 2 automatic promotion spots. And it is a 38-match schedule. So you have 8 matches to go. And right now, this is a matchup for 9th and 10th as they are both trying to get into the promotion playoff opening stage. So you have 1 and 2, they go to Serie A. 3 and 4 wait as 5, 6, 7, and 8 sort themselves out to play 3 and 4 to go in as the third team. So right now, Südtirol is in 9th at 38 points. Right now, 8th is Cesena, and we've got news about them in Serie B. So Südtirol is 9th, 2 points out of the final promotion playoff spot. 5, 6, 7, 8, opening round of the promotion playoffs. Südtirol is at 38 points. They are in 9th. Avellino is the home team. They are at 36 points. So 4 points out of a promotion playoff spot, 2 points behind Südtirol, and they're the home team. Südtirol has been all over the map in their last 5. They've hit each column once in their last 3. Südtirol is going with the Avellino. They're going to Avellino. Avellino has won 2 in a row. They won at home 1-0 to Padova 9 days ago. And then yesterday they won 2-1 at Intella. And so now they're at home against Südtirol on Wednesday as they're trying to cram all these matches in. Me personally, I'm going with the hot team. I'm going with Avellino. So that is match number 3. Let's find out about these 2 clubs. So Avellino US Avellino 1912. Union Sportiva Avellino 1912. They are the Lupi, the Wolves. The Bianco Verde, the white greens, because they are white and they have a wolf's face, and it is half and half. So the face is green, and the fur on the back of the head and down the body is white. And they are also the Irpini, the Irpinians. First club was founded on 12/12 of 12. December 12th, 1912, 113 years ago. Then they became US Avellino in 1944, Avellino Calcio in 2009, and then in 2018, US Avellino 1912. They play at the Stadio Partenio Adriano Lombardi, capacity 26,000. They don't have a manager at present, so they're doing all of this without a manager. And they won Serie C last year to get into Serie B. So they were founded to give the town a footballing representative. Early history, quite obscure, according to our friends at the Wikipedias, as they only competed at a lower level against regional sides. Competed in the 4th Divisione from 1913 until after the Second World War, which is today's equivalent, that is Serie D. So that is your knife fight in a phone booth, basically. So did not achieve anything of note until placed in Serie C for the post-war season. Narrowly missed out on getting through to the Interregio, finishing third in their group, beat Catania, Regina, and Messina to win promotion to Serie B at the end of the 1940s. They were accused of match fixing, however. Federation relegated them to Serie D, promoted to Serie C after one season. Avellino relegated to spend 6 consecutive seasons at Serie D level. Eventually, Avellino returned, but in 6 seasons, and Avellino gained promotion to Serie C in 3 of them, relegated twice. 70s and 80s, they had 10 consecutive seasons in Serie A, and the Torneo Estivo 1986. So they were promoted to Serie B in 73, Serie A in 78. 10-year stay in Serie A from 78 to 88. Mid-table place for most of that time. Best finish 8th in 87. Alessio, Benedetti, Colomba, and Dirceu. The Wolves of Irpinia on the Torneo Estivo del 1986, a League Cup contested by all Serie A, eliminated before the Coppa Italia semis. They won Group B, final in June 19th of 86 in the Estadio Santa Colomba. They defeated 3-2. They defeated Bari 3-2. 2 goals by Alessio and 1 from Paolo Benedetti. And then they went from Serie B to Serie C in the decade after being relegated in 1988. Got back to Serie B, beating Napoli in the 2004 Serie C B playoff finals. Relegation playoffs, they went back down. 06-07, second place in Serie C. Campaign in the promotion playoffs. They defeated Foggia, so they're back in Serie B. Coach resigns. Then Maurizio Sarri is was the replacement in 07. He resigned a month later. And then Carboni and Calori were in and out. Club didn't manage to escape relegation, finishing the season in 19th. Readmitted to Serie B later on to fill a league vacancy when Messina disbanded. And then they finished second from bottom in 08-09, relegated again. And on July 9 of 2009, the Covisoc, the Commissione di Vigilanza sulle Societe Calcisiste, there's that word, announced the team didn't pass the financial requirements in order to be admitted to the league, allowed to appeal the decision, failed the appeal, and so they come back as a new club in 2009, restarting from Serie D, later admitted to the Lega Pro Seconda Divisione to fill vacancies, and then they had financial difficulties again. Excluded from Serie B in 2018, submitting a league membership paperwork deemed as incomplete due to a late bank guarantee. New club refounded, applied to Serie D, won Serie D and the Scudetto, Serie C, and in 2021, they get to the playoff finals, losing to Padova. Most of the team is Italian. They do have a Norwegian midfielder in Martin Palumbo. They have a Greek captain in Dimitris Sunis. Andrea Labornia is on loan from Como, and Lorenko Simic from Croatia is a center back for Avellino, plays for the U21s in Croatia. And Alessandro Milani, a left back, plays for the Venezuelan national team. Alessandro Milani Scalci. And they've got a boatload of players out on loan right now. Raffaele Biancolino was the last coach that was listed. And so all Italian staff all the way down and through. So that is Avellino. Südtirol, I think we know from other places. Südtirol, if I could spell Südtirol. FC Südtirol. Bolzano Bozen. Based in the city of Bolzano in the autonomous province of South Tyrol, formerly known as its bilingual name, FC Südtirol Alto Adige. Played for the first time in their history in Serie B during the 22-23 season after they were crowned Serie C champs in 21-22. Founded in 1974, and their nicknames in both Italian and German, the Biancorossi on the Weißröte, white and reds, the Tirolesi or the Tiroler, the Tyroleans, or the South Tyroleans, the Alto Atesini Südtirolesi, or the Südtiroler. Short name is FCS. I like that better. Founded in 74 as SV Milan Fußball, 1995 Südtirol Alto Adige, and then in 2000 as FC Südtirol, playing a stadium of 5,500, and they were in the middle of the pack in Serie B in 24-25. Then, so early 90s, they wanted to bring football back to South Tyrol because since the 80s with Bolzano, and this is like way north, section of the boot. This is like northeastern boot. Literally, they are like right on the border. Italy's northernmost province. They tried to take over FC Bolzano, which was in difficulties, and they couldn't do it. So then you had a South Tyrolean group take over SV Milan, played before the acquisition of the season, relegated into the Promozione. So then, club started their first season, 95, which was 7th division. Immediate promotion. Played in the National League in Serie D. Then they go to Serie C2, the lowest professional league. So it's like Serie C and then Serie C2. 1, 2, 3, 4th division. 4th division. Incorporated and relocated in 2000. Serie C1. Then you have the youth coach take over in 08-09. Then they go in 2010 to 2022. They go from Serie C to Serie B. Relegated in 2010. Next season, they hired Giovanni Stroppa, who was the youth coach at Milan. And then he goes and he moves him to Serie B. And then the head coach goes to Pescara. So you have a lot of different coaches. They're kind of hovering in Serie B. Final round promotion Serie B was lost in 2013-14. Most successful season in club history, 21-22. Title race on final match day on Padova, reaching the Coppa Italia Serie C final, losing on aggregate to Padova. Acquired their place in Serie B for 22-23. First time in Serie B for them. Then they were even bigger success. In constant contention for promotion to Serie A, finished in 6th, got into the promotion playoff prelim round, and then 2 points short of the playoffs. And then they went up against Regina, back and forth. 23-24, they had a dismissal of Coach Bisoli in favor of Federico Valente. They secured their place in Serie B, which is where they are. Current badge came in 2016. Bolzano Bolzan, once again, depending on where your lineage is from. Stadium was built in 1936, renovated between 2019 and 2021. You can have up to 5,500. Current squad, Philippe Bourdon is on loan from Lazio. He's from Brazil. Karim Zadadka is from Algeria. Mamadou Koulibaly is from Senegal, and he is a midfielder wearing 14. You have Hamza Al-Kawakibi, who is a Moroccan defender. Domen Chernigoy Slovenian midfielder, and 2 Albanians, Silvio Merkai and Frederic Veseli, a Lithuanian, Marius Adamonis in net, a couple of players out on loan, but once again, mainly an Italian side. So they won Serie C in 21-22, and they won Serie C2 to get to Serie C in 29-10. So fairly tame when it comes to your clubs, but nevertheless, you end up with Serie B, Avellino, and Sud Tirol. That is matchup number 4. So that is where we are. So we have 3. So we have 3, and I have plans for 2 more. So I need 3 more matches to fill in the space starting Wednesday. So we need like Thursday and Friday. Friday. That's what we need. We need Thursday and Friday. Let me see where we are here. Do we have one here? As it just kind of disappears on me. It's like you click on something and it just comes ahead and disappears on you because it's like, I don't want you to be seen. No, we're not going to go there because that's on Sunday. We need I know what I want to wrap on Sunday with. Ooh, how about we go here? Yeah, let's do this. Okay. Okay, so now Wednesday, selection number 4. We're going to go late night. We are going to go late night in this one. Now, it is do or die for Seattle Sounders. Seattle and Vancouver. This one's in Seattle, 11 o'clock on Wednesday night. Seattle is in dire need to flip the series. Or Vancouver's in dire need to flip the series. This is going to Seattle. Vancouver loses first leg 3-0 at home. Going to Seattle, 11 o'clock kick. Seattle is a plus 114. Draws a plus 260. Vancouver's a plus 240. I like the draw in this one because I don't anticipate. I think Seattle probably rotates a lot, and I think that they're just going to be happy to be here. I thought about doing Toluca and San Diego because San Diego's a plus 600, but it would be at Toluca, and San Diego has a 3-2 lead going into that second leg. So, I mean, it would be good viewing on Wednesday, but I don't know how San Diego would go, and if anybody would want to dive in at a plus 600, basically. So that's why I kind of went against. That's kind of why I was thinking, I don't know if I want to do that one or not. So, it was a thought. It was a thought. Now, okay. Okay, so 21, 22. Okay. Wow. All right. Yeah, tell you what, we'll do that one here. And so now I need. All right, so I need something really obscure. I need something really obscure or low-level leaguey kind of things late in the week for number 4. Or for number 5, sorry. Number 4, number 5. Why do you people sit there and say, well, there's matches, and then you don't click and there's no matches? See, this is just, you're frustrating me. You're really frustrating me. You really pissed me off. All right, so today, tomorrow. That was a thought, but you started too early. We don't have anything in that one. All right, so like I said, and I'm going through the alphabet, so that's kind of why when I'm looking at selections, it might take a little longer than normal because, like I said, I've got most of the back end squared away, but I need something like Thursday, Friday, and I want to see if we can get into a country that we've never been in before. That's what I'm hunting for here. A country that we haven't had a match in yet. to help out what's going on. So, no, you're not helping the man. You're really not. You're really not helping the guy here. So, let's see. Do we go there? I don't think we've been there in a while. I don't think we have. Okay. Tell you what. All right. So here's what we'll do. And no, we're not going to have the MLS pick for this week was the CONCACAF pick, the CONCACAF league. So that one's been our pick of the week. So okay, so let's do this. Pick number 5 is going to be in Denmark, and it is going to be in the first division at 8:00 in the morning. So, all right. So here, I'm writing the game down so I don't forget when I go back for our education. Okay, so it is the Denmark First Division for match number 5. Denmark First Division is going to be that basically they have the Superliga and they have the First Division. So this is like second division Danish soccer. And all of their games kick off at 8:00 on Saturday morning. So we are going to pick the 8:00 game between Hillerød and Aarhus Fremad. Hillerød and Aarhus Fremad. Hillerød is a plus 140. Draws a plus 240. And Aarhus Fremad is a plus 154. So, in the league standings right now, once again, first division. So it's like first division is like second division to us. So the second division, Hillerød, and they play the split. Jared would be happy on this one. So Hillerød is in 4th place right now after 21 matches. So, wow, this might actually be like the last day of playing before they do the split. So Hillerød, 21 matches, 34 points. So if they win, they could be third if something happens with Esbjerg. If they lose, then they're going to be in 4th, and there won't be any less than 4th because Horsens and Kolding IF could finish no higher than 33 points. Hillerød, by the way, has drawn 2 of their last 3. 34 points for Hillerød. They're in 4th. Aarhus Fremad is in 8th right now. So Aarhus Fremad is at 27 points. They're unbeaten in 5. And if they win, they have a superior goal difference over Kolding and could even finish as high as 5th if things go their way. Horsens has only drawn twice in their last 4. Kolding has hit each column once in their last 3. They're 5th and 6th. Aarhus Fremad, unbeaten in 5 to get to 27 points. Their goal difference is plus 6. They could leapfrog B93. Don't get me started on that. They could possibly get into the upper half of the split with a win. Highly superior goal difference to the teams around them with the exception of Horsens. And if Horsens loses, then their goal difference would be less, and Aarhus Fremad would have a higher goal difference. They could be finishing as high as 5th through this weekend. So it's going to be real difficult to let you know what direction I'm going here. I'm going for the slight dog in Denmark. Aarhus Fremad over Hillerød. So let's find out about our friends from Aarhus Fremad. So Aarhus Fremad is an association football club located in Aarhus North, the northern part of Aarhus, Denmark. Tell me something I don't know. Faroe Islands Premier League. Okay, OG, you got to tell me where. I love the Faroe Islands idea. I love that. I will blow up one of my picks for the Faroe Islands. So are you going to SofaScore to get that? Let me know. So we will put Faroe Islands in that mix. I will juggle the days, and we'll put the Faroe Islands in there. So that one will play, and that one would end up being pick number 5 in order. But since I'm filling out the grid, tell me the Faroe Islands and where you're seeing it, and then we can go there. So we'll go Aarhus Fremad, and they compete in the Danish First Division. And wow, okay. I'm going to show you this logo, and it looks like a civil. It looks like a civil defense reject. It really does. So here we go with the sharing of screens. I'm going to show you this logo. That is the logo for Aarhus Fremad Fodbold. Okay, so you're going SofaScore. So we'll go Faroe Islands on Friday, and that'll be one of the 8. And I will blow up my Serbia pick. I'll blow up my Serbia pick of Javor and Novi Pazar. But that is Aarhus Fremad from our friends at the Wikipedias on their logo. Literally, that looks like something that happened in like the 1970s as a civil defense login. So that's Aarhus Fremad Fodbold. They got some work to do. Anyway, that is their logo. Competed in the lower divisions until 97 when they miraculously reached the Super League after 9 promotions in 13 seasons. Play in a capacity stadium of 5,000 with only 100 seated. They won the second division last year. I like their away colors. I like the black and white combo for the away. Aarhus Fodsportsforening, Fremad, was founded in 1897. But the football department was established in 1947 at the request of Wilhelm Östenfeld and admitted into the local football union, DBU Jutland, in 1947. Active participants in the club's athletics and handball departments. Chief exec of the Jutland Handball Federation and former head coach of the Denmark women's national handball team was one of the players. Exact details about the first decades of the club's existence is sparse, except location. The ground at the Lasosgata School, close to Ingerslevs Boulevard, located in the Frederiksberg neighborhood in the southern parts of Aarhus. 69 moved to their current home, the 5,000 capacity stadium that only has 100 seats. The first newer club magazine, Kartoffelmoss, was published in 1975. Following the fatal General Assembly in 1973, Aarhus so here's what at an extraordinary General Assembly in December of 73, the entire Villa team opted out of Aarhus Fremad, took with them a large number of active members. So basically, it sounds like this clique in 1973 decided at their AGM to leave. So the entire board leaves. Remaining members didn't have a board, didn't know how to run a football club. Nevertheless, they appointed a guy to run the thing in April of 74. So financial turmoil, no shock. Didn't have enough players to form a team. New 3-person board, lacking contributions. They had to pay them debts themselves to cover expenses from the former board. And so between 80 and 83, they landed in financial decline again. Issues resolved faster. Granted a new indoor facility. Rose into the Superliga in 84 through 97. They were in the Superliga in 97. They had another financial crisis in 99. Merged with Skovbakken IK. Club had a debt of 1.8 million Danish krone. Merger only survived for 6 months. Bankruptcy threatened the project. They disbanded in 03. FC Aarhus, and then Aarhus Fremad was resurrected. Of Going back to traditional virtues, strong focus on volunteers, relegated to the third tier after 5 seasons. A lot of lows, apparently. Few highs and many lows between 04 and 15. And then the first half of the 1920 season documented in the TV2 documentary that Skalnoka, their struggle for promotion in the second tier. So Aarhus Fremad has dealt with schisms and underdogs. So we're going to go Aarhus Fremad there. All right, so Faroe Islands, Friday, SOFA score. All right, so hang on just a second. So SOFA score. And so Faroe Islands. So Faroe Islands competitions. If I could spell Faroe Islands. So Faroe Islands Premier League. All right. So Faroe Islands Premier League. And you got. No, I need round 3. I don't need round 2. I need like next round. So round 3, slated for Friday, Stremur and Klaksvik. Okay, so Stremur and Klaksvik from the Faroe Islands Premier League. And Klaksvik is third, as they've just started. Win and a draw in their first 2. So Klaksvik is third. Stremur is in 9th. They've given up 5 goals and they've only scored 1. So Stremur and Klaksvik. This one might be pretty easy. I'm going to go with Klaksvik here. Now, let me see if we have any numbers as of yet. And the answer is no. So it is plus 100 across the board. And we're going Klaksvik. And we went with Aarhus Fremad in the Danish First Division. All right, we got like 3 minutes. So number 7 is going to be the continuation of the saga of Spurs and Forest. Spurs specifically. This is in the Premier League on Saturday. Spurs and a relegation 6-pointer with Nottingham Forest. Right now, Spurs favored at home at a plus 150. Nottingham Forest a plus 175. The draw is a plus 240. And I'm going to go with the draw in that one. And so we have now Sierra Leone. When is this? So let me see when the Sierra Leone, and like I said, I'll clean this up. Sierra Leone National Premier League. Okay, so Sierra Leone National Premier League, because I was going to go to Argentina, but we'll go here. So now, round 20, 18, 19. All right, so let's go to the last one on the board, the one that wraps up the week in Sierra Leone. OG, you won me over. The Sierra Leone Premier League, 12:30 on the 21st. It is the East End Lions and the Bow Rangers. I think we've had the Bow Rangers on before, a long time ago. So now, looking at this one, the Bow Rangers are second in the table after match week 19, 36 points, 9-9-1. They've only given up 12 goals in 19 games. This one might be pretty easy, too, when you look at it. The East End Lions, though, are unbeaten in 5, and they're in 8th. 24 points, and Bow Rangers are at 36 points. At least easy picking for me anyway. So, wow. Okay, so you have the Bow Rangers who have won 4 in a row, if I'm reading this correctly. And, yeah, they've won 4 in a row to get to 36 points, second in the table. And the East End Lions have drawn 2 of their last 3. And 12-point difference right now. So head-to-head, East End Lions and Bow Rangers have won 6 of the last 9. This one for me is leaning in one direction only. And I think they're plus 100s because I don't see any juice boxes early on. So this one Round 20, Sierra Leone National Premier League. We're going with the Bow Rangers because they're right now second in the table. So that's the ones. Okay, so to recap quickly. Oh, I know. I asked for obscure. You gave it to me, OG. All right, so to recap quickly, remember, go to Atlanta Soccer tonight after we're done here. Jason, Maddie, things. Atlanta United 2. Okay, so here we go real quick. It is Open Cup, Vermont Green, Portland Hearts of Pine, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on YouTube. Vermont Green plus 185. P-Hop a plus 100. I'm going draw to plus 260. Champions League, Wednesday, Spurs and Atleti, both teams listed at a plus 154. I'm going with Atleti. 3 p.m. Wednesday, Serie B, Avellino and Südtirol. And this is right on the edge of the promotion playoff play-in round. Avellino a plus 179, Südtirol a plus 170, draws a plus 195. I'm going Avellino. Triple C. This takes our MLS matchup. Triple C, Seattle and Vancouver on late night Wednesday. Seattle a plus 114 at home, and this is just the matchup, not the two legs combined. Seattle a plus 114, draws a plus 260, Vancouver a plus 240. I think Seattle frustrates the ever-loving crap out of them. I'm going draw. Faroe Islands Premier League. Thank you, OG. Streymour and Klaksvik. We're going Klaksvik. Once again, plus 100. Klaksvik higher in the table than Streymour. Streymour, I think, was 9th in the league of the 10-team Premier League. Denmark First Division, which is basically the second division. Hillerød and Aarhus Fremad. Because of all of the chaos that they've had, they're the underdog at a plus 154. Trying to climb their way into the upper half of the split. Hillerød at plus 140. I'm going Aarhus Fremad on the road. Premier League, the continuing saga of Spurs on Saturday. Spurs and Forest. Spurs a plus 150. Draws a plus 240. Forest is a plus 175. I'm going draw. And then thanks to the OG, once again, plus 100s across the board. Sierra Leone Premier League, East End Lions, Bow Rangers, the 21st. So 5 days from now, Saturday afternoon, 12:30. East End Lions and Bow Rangers. Bow Rangers second in the table. East End Lions in mid-table. And I'm going Bow Rangers. So that's your rundown. I will post this in the Discord with up-to-date numbers and things if I can read my own handwriting. Once again, go over to 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app. It is Jason. It is Maddie. It is Atlanta Soccer Tonight because, once again, the Field of 68 takes their regular time slot tomorrow night, so they're on tonight. So Atlanta Soccer Tonight is tonight, and therefore it is going to be right now. Enjoy them over at 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app, SDHAM. It is a full show coming at you 9:05 tomorrow morning. Bye.